Welcome to Brews and Boxing. Raider Live here, back in the host seat. We are your less than 50 days till Christmas leader when this gets posted. One guy that's going to make happy is one of my co-hosts up there, Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, how you doing?
You know, fresh off our Halloween show, I found some eggnog. I'm drinking that. Y'all have fun.
Oh, I hope that's actually eggnog. That looks really... Yeah, we're going to get banned for that one. And the Halloween show was great, boys. I don't know if you guys saw me in the background as a specter, but I was there. I just didn't see it. I had a great costume lined up as the sauce. That would have been funny. But my other co-host is not drinking disgusting eggnog, but is also known as the sauce. He is the one, Judge Jimmy James. Judge, how are you?
I'm good. Rich, that's if you found that eggnog when you were looking for your Halloween stuff, I hope that you have 911 on speed dial, because I do not want you to get sick after drinking God knows what eggnog from what last year. So
just
my prayers are with you.
Normal. It's just terrible, but like you at least got some booze in it. Doesn't even have booze in it. Oh my god. Ugh. All right, gentlemen, well, it's time to get some real booze in our bodies here. But before we do that, just going to do a quick rundown of the show this week. It's the first of the month, which means we're going to be doing our Filthy Five. And this week we are doing the 168. And yes, we know that the Canelo plant fight is this weekend. And we are filming this on Thursday. So keep that in mind if you're watching it past Saturday and something happens on Saturday. This is the list as of Thursday, our 168 list. We'll also preview that big Canelo versus Plant fight, and we got some news to get to as well. So, gentlemen, if you're ready, I missed you. Pop your beer. I got the old champagne back. So, James, I got myself a 24-pack of champagne for when you come over to watch the fight this weekend. Filthy Rich, you're invited as well, obviously.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, cheers.
Cheers, boys.
All right, let's move on. All right, Brews and News, gentlemen. 3 bits of news to get to this week. First one we're going to start out with is Rolly Romero, after being accused of some very serious crimes, is now out against his fight against Tank Davis. Tank Davis is going to fight Isaac Cruz on December 5th now instead. How do you guys feel about the replacement? And if you have any comments on Rolly's accusations, this is America still. You are innocent until proven guilty, but these are some pretty bad accusations to have on you. He says he's going to clear his name. Filthy Rich, we'll start with you. What do you think of the replacement? And if you have any comments on Rolly?
Yeah, I like Isaac Cruz. I had him ranked at our 140 division at like 7 or 8 or something. He's a solid fighter. I think it's too early for him to be stepping up to Davis, but the guy reminds me of Davis. So this is going to be an interesting fight. They're evenly matched. I think Davis carries all the power, but the power I remember with Davis was at 130 and 135. And now Davis is at 140, where Leo Santa Cruz called what was Davis Romero a 50-50 fight. And it was probably because Davis may not carry the power up there, where Isaac Cruz is more of a natural 140. I like this replacement. I think just like with Romero, it might be too early, where had they waited a year, 2 years, it might be a more big dollar fight. Isaac Cruz ain't going nowhere. He ain't ducking nobody. So I'm glad he stepped up to the plate. I know the fight is still going to be on pay-per-view. I'm going to watch it. I'm excited for the two of them to go at it. As far as the Romero accusations go, I mean, I was watching the thing break on Twitter as it was happening. I read the text messages from many accusers, I guess. I mean, this is a serious thing. But yes, just like you said, it's America. Let's not, it's innocent until proven guilty. It's not a blessing in disguise. It's a poor choice of words here, but like I've said before, that fight should have happened a year from now. And unfortunately, Now it's going to happen later would be my guess.
Well, at least it's a replacement that's actually going to stay a good fight, at least. So it's still worth buying and watching. Judge, what do you think of this whole situation?
Oh, I don't have any further insight on what's being accused by Rolly, but if you guys are saying it's that bad, then I know you guys hold certain things. So if it's that bad, then this is probably not good for Romero. So unfortunate. Hopefully, like I said, innocent until proven guilty, right? However, for when this did break and Isaac Cruz was the one that slipped in and then got inked. I remember Rich bringing that up on the show before at 140. I would like to talk to Santa Cruz again, because if he were to say that this fight was more of a 50-50, I would probably believe that more than I would have with Raleigh. Even though Isaac Cruz is still young, the pit bull is different. I just think he's got the better game to at least hang with Davis. So I think it's going to be a good fight, 100%. And I'm really happy that this is like 2 fights in a row that somebody got out and then the replacement fighter jumped in was actually worth note. So kudos to you, boxing, because that usually doesn't happen.
I guess you're not counting the Evander Holyfield replacement then.
I don't know what you're talking about. So no. But I guess that's all I have for that.
Right on. All right, let's move on to the next bit of news here. Bob Arum is advocating for change that women's boxing should move to 3-minute rounds. Now, this is something we've talked about on the show here a few times, where I think the rules should be changed to 3-minute rounds. But there's been some women's boxers that have come out and said, well, if we're going to go 3-minute rounds, we want to get paid more. I'm on the thing that it's like, if you want to get paid more, you have to sell more tickets, is basically what it is. The WNBA doesn't get paid more because they don't sell more tickets, but the women's UFC gets paid just as much because they do sell tickets. So, I mean, you can't get paid more unless you're selling more tickets. So I don't know if that's the fault of boxing not promoting enough or what, but I do think 3-minute rounds should be a thing. Curious to think what you guys think. Judge, we'll start with you this time.
I mean, I kind of agree with Michaela Mayer. Going a possible 20 minutes or 24 total minutes versus a possible total of 36 minutes. That's 12 extra minutes that you're finding in a fight where you can change the tide of you can change the tide really quick. And it, at least lately in the past year and a half, for me, I feel like women's boxing has taken a giant leap forward in the terms of action. The women that are stepping up, the matches, they are becoming more active. They are becoming better, at least for what I've seen. Maybe I'm just naive because might not have been paying attention to it as long as some other people, but there's some big names, some big stars. I think I would like to see 3-minute rounds. And if you want to have a caveat on this, put 3-minute rounds on championship fights, right? If you need to have 2-minute rounds to get 2 just non-belt fights or non-title fights, and so be it. But when you get to those championship fights, just like everything else, you make it longer because they are the better the sport has to offer in most cases. So I would have to agree with Michaela Mayer. I don't care for Bob Arum, but either way, this is I would agree with that. Touching on the money thing, I don't know if I really have any input on that because obviously it's all revenue generating, revenue based. But yeah, I definitely think they should move to 3-minute rounds.
Filthy Rich?
Yeah, I think it should go. I think they should be in 3 minutes. It's going to be tough because, you know, the amateurs, the Olympic boxing and things like that I think they're still doing 2-minute rounds. So when we talk professional, we're going, it's just professional 3-minute rounds. But then you got, you know, college basketball is 15-minute halves. And when you get up to the professionals, it changes a little bit. I think the college basketball is more like Olympic basketball, but as far as moving up to the professional ranks, I think the women should be getting 3-minute rounds of fighting. Now, when it comes to the money issue with this, because I know she said with Andre Ward not too long ago that if I'm going to be fighting more, I need to get paid more. And I guess the only solution at this point is you're fighting a third more from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. That's an extra minute. That's 1/3, my math friends out there. Then you raise the ticket prices a third, raise the pay-per-view a third. And if people are going to buy it, then they buy it. Great. But if you're not selling out arenas, not saying you have no one to blame but yourself, but that is the way it works. It's a supply and demand kind of thing. If the price is too high, people ain't coming in. They ain't going to buy the ticket. They're not going to buy it at home. But there's got to be a good price point. And in the end, yeah, I'd like to see women's boxing go 3 minutes. It's hard to judge a 2-minute round.
I agree. It should be almost the same rules. I don't understand why changing the rules in a fighting sport like that. I don't know. Any final thoughts you guys have on that one? You guys thought?
Yeah,
I feel like
do.
Oh,
I
you
had
do?
one
Okay, go
final
ahead.
thought. So the only other difference is that some people might make the argument, well, yeah, women might be throwing punches and doing this, but there's no knockouts, right? But if you think about it, how many times have you seen somebody get up to speed quick in 2 minutes and then have to stop and then have to go back for 2 minutes only? Like, you see a whole minute of a round off for most people sometimes, and then you might have 2 minutes of the show. So, I mean, that's just you might see more action if that's what people want to see, and that's what people are going to tune in to see are knockouts. Then you might get more if you add that extra minute on there. So obviously safety concerns and things like that, but that is one thing that you could push as a positive to use as ROI for your investment.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to the final bit of news here. Is Jamal Charlo is seeking a mega fight with the winner of Canelo versus Plant. Now, obviously, Jamal's at 160, and Plant and Canelo are at 168, and Canelo's trying to move up even more to 175, it sounds like, after this fight. But he wants the mega fight with the winner. I assume it'd be at 168 if he's planning on moving up, is what it kind of sounds like. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Plus, we have some news on Golovkin, Benavidez, and Andrade, too. I'll let you get into that, Filthy Rich. But we'll start with you, Filthy Rich, about what you think about Charlo moving up to 168 to fight the winner of Plant versus Canelo.
Well, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening. I see Canelo fighting Benavidez next. So Jamal's going to have to wait. It's easy to call anyone out at any division, I guess. But for Jamal Charlo, Ring Magazine has him number 2, Golovkin number 1. That is for the lineage. Go after the lineage at 160. Make a Golovkin fight happen. I don't know how you do it, but that has to be done before we talk about any Plant and Benavidez and Andrade and whoever else. Fight the guy at 160. At some point you'll move along, but this is for the lineage. This keeps your name in the history books forever. So if I'm on Team Charlo, I say make the Golovkin fight happen.
I agree with you. A Golovkin fight would be better for him that way, but the money fight is definitely against Canelo. That's what he's trying to get. Everyone wants a piece of Canelo money. I mean, that's what it is. But Judge, what do you think of this move of him talking about 168? Plus, is 168 too big for Charlo too? Do you think?
He ain't moving to 168 anytime soon. All right. He hasn't done enough at 160 to move up to 168. He's going to skip a whole division. He's not that. I don't see that being a smart move for Charlo. But if we want to go for who he's talking about, who you should fight, it's going to be Golovkin or Andre. I would probably, I could make a case for him fighting Boo Boo, because Boo Boo has a belt as of this recording. I know in the future he's playing or fighting Quigley, so maybe he won't. But I could make a case for him to fight Andrade and then fight Golovkin. However, Golovkin's getting older. He is training again, so that's good. He hasn't passed away or anything weird like that. I know he's got to fight Murata soon, but I mean, it feels like forever since we've seen the guy.
And he looked good in his last fight.
So hopefully, hopefully that's something that gets made. I think Charlo needs to stay at 160. He needs to do more stuff at 160, and then if in a year and a half, if that stuff is still around, then maybe he has the option to move up to 168. I think he has a chance at moving up to 168 and being something, but I need to see more at 160. I'm pretty sure that he could make a Nabubu fight fairly quickly. The Golovkin fight might be tougher, but if he can do that, if he can get both of them in 2022, then and win both, then yeah, I would say that he'd probably be able to move up to 168, depending on how those fights manifest.
But if he waits till next year to move up to 168, Canelo's probably going to be at 175 at that point, and you're chasing Canelo. You're never going to catch up to him up at that point, and Canelo's just too good for him. I think
Canelo versus Charlo will never happen.
You're saying it never happened.
Will never happen.
Rich, never happen.
I don't know.
It'll
never happen.
I don't know.
Well, think about it though. If you think about where other big names would there be, big money names for Canelo after he beats Plant and Benavidez? You got Beterbiev and Bivol, and that's at 175. So I mean, maybe you fight a catchweight against a Charlo and get big money on that. You know, Charlo's a big name, at least some big money involved in that. No, you don't think so?
Yeah, nah. I stand by my statement.
Filthy Rich, you have anything to add to that?
We don't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't know what Canelo's deal with the PBC is right now. If it's a 1-fight deal, it's a 1-fight deal. But I know there were rumors going around, maybe a 3-fight deal with Benavidez being next. And I don't know, someone like, friend of the show, Caleb Truex is at 168. Maybe they get it on and Canelo gets out of this deal. But if it's a 1-fight deal, we don't know where Canelo's going next. Bivol's on DAZN and Beterbiev's on ESPN. I know no one wants to look past anyone, but Canelo's already saying that he is interested in a Beterbiev fight. So there's that.
Right on. Well, we'll be interested to see how that goes. That actually does a great transition into our pound for pound of our 168 division, which Charlo, we all agreed, was not part of. Just because he's talking about going there, he has not gotten there yet. May hit that later in the show, but we got a big preview coming up right now. So let's get through that. All right, Brews and Previews got to do the big fight this week in Canelo versus Plant, the road to undisputed. Both undefeated, not undefeated. I'm sorry, Canelo lost to Mayweather, and Golovkin twice. But anyway, the road to the undisputed championship at 168, anyway, is what we're talking about. And big fight. Can't wait for it to happen. As you can see, Jimmy came and sits still up there about it. James is coming over. I'm buying it this time. So, Filthy Rich, you are invited to come over. Gee, thanks. You're coming. You're invited to come over this weekend too and watch it. It'll be a good time. Let's break it down here a little bit. I don't know who wants to break down what, but I'm just going to pick one here because of James's love for Tecate. He will break down Canelo, and then Filthy Rich, you will break down Caleb Plant and the ways to victory for both of them, and then we'll do predictions and stuff like that. So, Judge, we'll start with you, the Tecate King up there. What is Canelo's keys to victory against the longer, taller Plant?
Well, as most people say, when you're winning, you don't have to change anything. So he really doesn't have to change anything. He's going to come out and beat Canelo. The last 2 fights, if not 3, I have said, oh, this other guy's got such a great shot at doing blah, blah, blah. I'm done. I'm done with that. Canelo's going to come out and do exactly what he did against BJS and exactly what he did against Callum Smith.
Break their eye sockets?
And he is going to dominate. I don't see something different happening with Caleb Plant. He's got his game plan down pat. Him and Eddie Reynoso just work it well. And I don't see Caleb Plant's style doing anything that may give Canelo any sort of an issue, with the exception of maybe he might have a more tough time hitting him, depending on what Caleb Plant's game plan is. So I'm interested to see what Rich says about that. But I don't think that Canelo is going to have much of a problem with this. He's going to do what he does, wait for his counter punches, sit on his back foot, and he's going to be precise, as he always is. And it's going to be brutal. And I just feel bad for Caleb Plant.
Do you predict a slow start for Canelo, though, as he kind of did against BJS?
It's kind of what he does. So yeah, he's probably going to start slow and then pick it up in the middle rounds. And if it gets past 9, it'll be faster at that point. But I think that's probably a good call.
All right, Filthy Rich. What does Caleb Plant have to do to become the undisputed champion at 168 and knock Canelo off his road to trying to be the greatest?
I wish I had the credit for someone online who stated the 3 things anyone needs to do to beat Canelo. Number 1, you have to be a world-class boxer. I don't know if Caleb Plant is a world-class boxer, but he is probably a notch underneath. So he is very close to being world-class. Number 2, you have to have a steel chin. I don't know if Caleb Plant has a steel chin, but maybe he does. I don't know if his chin's been tested, but that is another thing you need to beat. What you need to beat, or at least survive with Canelo. And the third thing is you need to have bricks for fists. You need to be able to hit hard. And again, I don't know if Caleb Plant has that in him. Those are 3 things it takes to beat Canelo. Now, in this fight in particular, what will Caleb Plant need to do? The first thing I would say is frustrate Canelo. I think Saunders probably had, I don't know if it's the blueprint, but Saunders, I think we all remember the David Lemieux fight. He sat on that bicycle almost the entire fight, and I think that's what Caleb Plant needs to do. Get on a bicycle. Now, I don't know if he's been training that way. He has hinted to I believe it was a boxing writer at Boxing 24/7 that he is prepared to be on his bicycle. So there's number 1, frustrate Canelo by being on your bike. The second thing I would say is get those early rounds. If you can get those early rounds, that is going to put Canelo in a position where you will see the frustration come middle round. Caleb Plant will probably get booed by the crowd as Canelo is egging them on to, hey, boo this guy. He's running away from me. But this is what you have to do and get those early rounds by staying on your bicycle. And the third thing is be prepared to go 12. You're not going to knock Canelo out because talking about a steel chin, I think Canelo has a steel chin. So you're not going to knock this dude out. Stay on your bicycle the entire time. Frustrate him. And again, number 3, go the distance. You're going to have to beat this guy on rounds. And I think it is possible Caleb Plant can do this.
It'd be tough. Last time we saw Caleb Plant, me and James were in the fish house watching him fight Caleb Truex. And that was a frustrating fight for us being friends of Caleb Truex because Caleb didn't win a round, if I remember right, in that fight. But it wasn't really much of a fight where didn't really challenge Caleb Plant that much. It didn't. It was almost like a glorified sparring session to watch, and very frustrating to watch. So we haven't really seen much of Caleb Plant fight. So we don't know what his. I mean, we've seen him fight, obviously, but we haven't seen him fight recently. That was his last fight, and that was back in January. Don't understand what the strategy is going to be. The referee is Russell Mora. Does that do anything for you guys? Any changes on who's going to be refereeing this fight? Your thoughts on it? No?
That should be a good ref.
No, I agree. He's a good ref, but sometimes you get the officials and you can go, hey, okay, this official does this thing one way or this way, the other thing. This announcer Russell Mora is going to be the referee. Yeah, I don't know exactly where to go with this one. I'm worried that Caleb Plant's going to get his eye kicked in, but you guys do have to remember that Billy Joe Saunders was winning that fight. I felt at one point, probably after 4 or 5 rounds, he was winning that fight. He was doing well. Filthy Rich, you brought that up briefly a little bit, so maybe he goes that blueprint. I don't know. I think he's a different style than Billy Joe Saunders, though.
James, you okay? You running out of breath? What's going on?
I am running out of breath, man. I got stuff to say. All right, like it's just.
Oh, you got stuff to say? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's. Did he make a blueprint? Maybe, right? BJS is a different style of fighter, right? He is somebody who's different. Now, Plant could technically try to do some of the same stuff, and if you go for it, like. I don't know if the IQ is the same, but I think BJS has a pretty good boxing IQ. He definitely has probably the same amount of power. I don't think they really have that much power for either fighter. But the other interesting thing for this, and now this could just be Canelo wanting to try to get under the skin of Plant, but he said for some reason that this is more personal of a fight than his Triple G rematch. So I think that's kind of a bold statement because I don't know where that's really coming from. I know they got in a little scuffle.
Said something about his mom. That's what it was.
Well, yeah. And I guess we still got to figure out. I still don't think he understands those 2 words in English, but that's beside the point. But I mean, other than that, this is interesting that Plant is very, very calm. However, I watched Jamal Herring be just as calm with Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur Stevenson destroyed him in the ring. So I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for Plant. Obviously the bigger fighter, but yeah, I just want to put that in there that Canelo thinks that this is the biggest fight of his career to date.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I think that the Golovkin fights are bigger, but I think I see this fight going more of like a Callum Smith style fight. I think Caleb Plant's more like Callum Smith. I don't know if you guys agree on this, but kind of a longer fighter. This will probably go the distance. I think he'll probably actually go the Callum Smith route and try to win on points, like Filthy Rich is saying. Do you guys agree with that? He's more of a Callum Smith than a Billy Joe Saunders style, anyway.
I stick by what I said. I think Plant's more BJS.
Really? I think he's more of a Colin Smith. He's more.
Well, what does Rich think over there? What is Rich quiet, think? Rich?
What do you think?
Well, look, you have to prepare for the guy in front of you. When he fought Truex, that is not Canelo. Caleb Truex and Canelo are not the same fighter, so you don't need to prepare the same way. But if you're going to find a way to beat Canelo, I think we kind of touched on it that Saunders may have the blueprint. So imitate that kind of style. Saunders messed up by not moving. He tried to go toe to toe in like the 7th and 8th round, and that was it. But Canelo has to hit you in order to win rounds. And there is a chance that Caleb Plant Willie Peps this and wins a round without, or I guess that's not right. Maybe Canelo Willie Peps this by winning a round without throwing a single punch. I don't know. Whatever. I think I'm lost there. But now, as far as Caleb Plant being more like Callum Smith versus Saunders, again, you just got to prepare for the guy in front of you. And Caleb Plant, he is very disciplined. I don't think he's one of these guys that is going to talk a big game to sell tickets. I think he has a game plan. He's going to stick to it. I think he's an underrated fighter, and I don't know how to compare him to someone else.
I'm going to say something here that you guys might go is ridiculous, but could the fact that he bleeds pretty easily by sunglasses or whatever have an effect in this fight? That maybe he opens up a cut too quickly, or he bleeds all over the place, and all of a sudden it gets stopped because he got cut. I mean, he was barely touched when that cut happened. I mean, what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I'm not going to acknowledge that you just said that.
James will. What do you think, James?
No, I don't think that means anything.
No, he's not a bleeder.
Man, I literally touched a piece of cardboard and all of a sudden I have a cut on my hand out of nowhere. So no, I don't think that means anything. I think it was just whatever. No.
All right.
He ain't a bleeder.
Well, just when we thought that Canelo was learning his English better, he definitely lost the term MFer, I think, when it came to that showdown or whatever it was. He's talking about my mother. No, he's not. But we get into the prediction segment now. It's time for prediction, boys. Canelo was going over at a minus 834. Caleb Plant is a 6.5 to 1 underdog. So 100 gets you 654. And you have to wager 834 to win 100 on Canelo. The over-under is 9.5 rounds. So Vegas is saying that there will probably be a knockout in this fight. So I'm curious to see what you guys' predictions are. Judge Jimmy James, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit more difficult because I think Plant has better defense. I think BJS had good defense too. He just got caught by a shot, which does happen. I am going to say that the same thing is going to happen to Plant, that he's going to get caught by a shot. Given the little scuffle in the press conference a while ago. So I believe that it will be Canelo in 11 by a TKO.
So broken eye socket in 11?
No, I didn't say that. I said a TKO. TKO, that's it. That's all you get.
If you said broken eye socket and that happened, that would be an amazing prediction. All right, Filthy Rich, what do you think? He says TKO in 11 for Canelo.
Look, I want to take Plant, and
wow,
I know Andre Ward took Plant.
Friend of the show.
But I don't. Okay, I don't think Plant is going to win. I'm just going to go with it's going to be a draw.
Wow.
I'm going to go with like maybe majority draw. I think it'll be
calling a draw. Wow.
I'm going to say it's going to be a majority draw. I think there's going to be two judges score probably 114 apiece. And I think the other judge will probably give it to Canelo. So
119, 110.
Well, probably.
It's time for you to bet in Vegas then, Filthy Rich, because draw is 18 to 1 right now. So that's pretty good money laying right there. I'm going to go with Canelo Alvarez is going to win by knockout. I think he's going to knock him down. I'm going to predict that he knocks him down in the 5th and then also knocks him down in the 7th and finishes him off in the 8th by referee stoppage in the 8th is what I'm going to go with. Canelo wins by referee stoppage in the 8th. I feel like once he turns it on, he's going to turn it on probably about the 4th round. And I'm still doing my prediction, Rich.
Oh, can you hear me? Oops.
Oh, man, I don't have my mute powers because somebody took them from me to record this. But, yeah, I think Canelo is going to turn it on in the 4th, knock him down in the 5th, knock him again in the 7th, and go for blood in the 8th and win by referee stoppage in the 8th. That's my prediction. So I got Canelo by ref stoppage in the 8th. James has got Canelo TKO in the 11th. And Filthy Rich says a draw. So take your bets to the window. Draw. A majority draw. So take your bets to the window. That's what we're doing. Keep in mind that we're filming this on Thursday. So if you watch this past fight, that's exactly what happens. And plus, with our pound for pound coming up, this is all pre-fight. So obviously, if Caleb Plant wins, our pound for pound rankings are probably going to be a little messed up if you watch it. So, all right, that is our prediction for this week, this big fight. So make sure you watch it. Probably the biggest fight left this year, I would imagine. So make sure you buy it, support boxing, get your friends together and watch it. You don't think so? That's not.
You need to go back and watch the last week's episode, Raider. Let's move
Okay.
on.
Well, I'm saying this is the biggest fight left this year.
I think Crawford Porter is probably a bigger one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Canelo. Canelo sells tickets, man. That's what.
Ain't nobody got time for this.
All right, fine, whatever.
All right.
All right, let's get to our pound for pound. All right, it's Filthy Five time. I know I said pound for pound, but I meant Filthy Five because, yeah, I drink beer on the show. That's what happens. So we're doing the 168. Couple rules we decided on that Gabriel Rosado, even though he is fighting at 160 against Munguia, he has a belt at 168, so he's included. Billy Joe Saunders, even though it sounds like he is retiring, he is still included in our list if we wanted to put him in there. And we are also not including Charlo, even though he says he wants the winner of Canelo versus Plant. He has to at least declare it at 168 or fight somebody at 168 for it to be on our list. So that's how it works. We each threw in 10 boxers, and then our number one boxer got 10 points, 9 down, all the way down to 1. They were in secret. We added up the points, and that becomes our 5. So we have 13 boxers here. We'll do our top 5, but we'll do our 5, 4, 3. Then we'll do our honorable mention, and then our 2 and our 1. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Sure.
Good talk.
Ready.
All right, here we go. Our number 5 boxer with 16 points is Gabriel Rosado, who we just talked about in the rules. I had him at 4. James, you had him at 7. Rich, you had him at 6. Richie, you had him higher than James. We'll start with you. What do you think about Gabriel Rosado at 5? Pretty close to where you had him.
Yeah, like I think we all know who number 1 is. I think 2 and 3 kind of a battle, and then 4 through I'd say about 9. This came down to who I think would win head to head as of today. About I'd say about last year. I don't think Rosado even makes this list, and even last year he was probably fighting at 160, which he's obviously moving back down for this Munguia fight. I don't know if he has the power to stay at 168, but as of now, that's where we have him ranked. But I think he's got skills. I just don't think he has like that knockout power that translates to 168. But as of now, I think he beats everybody I had ranked below him, and he is a solid fighter who's had a long career.
He does have a long career, and he is the highest boxer I've ever had with double-digit losses in there. But you can tell when you watch him, he's still very talented. He fights the best every time. He'll take on any fight. He has 13 losses, which is a lot for being high on this list, especially as high as he is on my list. But I don't know, he just passes the eye test with me when you watch him. He takes on pretty much all comers, and he fights every one of these guys really hard. That's what I think. James, you had him at 7, which is pretty close to where he ended up. Any thoughts on Gabriel Rosado?
I got a lot of thoughts on Gabriel Rosado. All right.
Well, good. Let's hear him.
I like Gabe Rosado. All right. I like Gabe Rosado back for quite a while, but I think in the last year and a half or 2 years, he has become a much better fighter and a much better boxer, in my opinion. Richie just said that he wouldn't be on this list last year. Boom. He'd be on my list last year. 100%. I thought he won that fight against Danny Jacobs and he got robbed. I think he got robbed. Go back and watch that fight. He got robbed. Either way, that was a big one. Fought at 168. I think he's got enough power, enough skill to still be dangerous at 168. I'm trying to figure out. I still don't know the benefit of him fighting Munguia, but there's got to be something underlining for that, just to move back, to attempt to move back down and fight a guy that definitely has a lot of power at 160. So a little bit dangerous, especially given Rosado's past history with his chin, because he definitely doesn't have what I would call an iron chin, but he has heart and the ability to get back up. So I mean, he is kind of low on my list at 7, just because I think he's starting to get at the tail end of his career, being he's 35 years old. He does have 13 losses, which is kind of crazy. But his losses are like Triple G, Charlo, Lemieux, Alfredo Angulo, Daniel Jacobs, which I don't agree with, Peter Quillen. Like, he's got like the big name. These are big name people that he's losing to, right? So I think he's on the up. I think this is going to be his final hurrah the next couple of years. But he's moving in the right direction, and I'm kind of excited to see if he can keep this momentum up for the next 2 or 3 years, because he would move up my list if he can keep it up. That's for sure.
I'm glad you brought up that Danny Jacobs fight, because that's a big thing in my list. Is I think he won that fight too. So I agree with you there. Gabriel Rosado at number 5 with 16 points. Filthy Rich, you have anything to add to what he said, or are you ready to move on?
You know, like those 13, that's why the like losses and things like that, they matter to an extent, but like I think he moved up in weight for almost every single. This guy he belongs at 154 at the time. He moved up to fight Golovkin when no one wanted to fight him. Kid Chocolate was another one. The Danny Jacobs thing was they were both at like 168, but this dude is like a real fighter's fighter, like the poor man's fighter. You want to watch a guy give it all he's got? It is Gabe Rosado. Everyone should be fans of Gabe Rosado. No excuses. Even he was in Creed. Can we just stop there?
He was.
Drink to that.
I'll drink to that too. I was gonna bring up he's Rocky like. He's
good transition. I like the transition.
All right, number 4 with 20 points is Billy Joe Saunders. I had him at 5. James, you had him at 4. Richie, you had him at 4. So you guys both had him at 4, and that's where he ended up. I had him at 5 just because I don't know if he's going to fight again. That brought him down a little bit for me, just a little bit. He probably would have been higher for me. He probably would have been 4 if he was still 100% active, but Gabe got in front of him just because I don't know if Billy Joe Saunders is going to fight again. So I had to bring him down a little bit. We started with James last time. You guys are tied, so let's go Richie at 4. What do you think of Billy Joe Saunders?
Yeah, look, this is under the assumption that he is coming back, and he's coming back probably at, I would think 100%. Now, let's say that is the case. He's got all the skills that I remember from the Lemieux fight. I think he tried to change his ways, which I don't agree with. I think he needs to stick to doing what he did best, and you put him in the ring with anybody like the Gabe Rosados and whoever else I have below him. Don't want to give too much away, but he still has something in the tank. He's still relatively young for a guy at 168. I think he's like 31. He's got a few years left, and you put him in the ring with any one of these guys I had below him. I think he can go the distance with anyone. I don't know if he knocks out anyone, but I think he can win on points against anybody I have below him.
James, you had him at 4 as well. So what do you want to add to that?
Well, look, you're talking about the retiring talk is just that. It's just talk. I've heard people say it all the time. Until something happens, it isn't true. So he's got to take time to recover from his eye socket. We all know, we've seen fighters that they come back too soon or not correct. It ends up being detrimental, right? But I have him here because I don't think that's going to be the case. He definitely wants a lot of money to fight in his next fight, and I think if anything stops him from continuing to be active, it's going to be that he's going to be asking for too much money, right? And that might just be the Canelo effect. But he still has, I think he still's got gas in the tank. I think he is a very skilled boxer. He might not have the power to do anything to anyone at 168, but he has the ring IQ and the skills, the defensive skills necessary to become a problem for a lot of fighters in this division. So, I mean, he only has 1 loss, right? I mean, come on, and it was a bad loss to a bad man. So, I think he beats everyone that I have below, and I hope that he comes back and fights. I still think he's a deplorable human being, but as a boxer, I definitely like watching him box in circumstances. So, sorry, Rich, didn't mean to toss that one out there, but he is kind of a POS as a human. So,
I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I was going to bring up. That he's one of my least favorite human beings that I've ever had to watch, and he's the first guy that made me cheer for Canelo in a fight. But after getting his eye socket broken that fight, he actually gained some cred in my book. He was tough about it, and but He had to come down a little bit on my list just because, it's not just the talk, it's the quotes from him that I'll only come back for a Canelo rematch or a really big money fight. It doesn't seem like that his heart's there anymore. I don't even know if he's been training ever at all since, his recovery. I don't know if he's even started back in the gym yet. So
he's British.
I'm just saying, if the longer a boxer is away from the gym, the harder it is to get back into championship shape, and maybe it's just been too long. Maybe he doesn't have the heart to do it anymore. I don't know. He's the big question mark on me. I wanted to drop him down lower. I felt like I couldn't put him down any lower than that just because he did put a scare into Canelo. I mean, he had a great game plan against Canelo. He was winning that fight for a while. I think we all agree on that, at least early. Probably after 4 rounds, he was winning that fight. He might have been winning on the cards, actually, when he got his eye broken, So it was close. Rich, he's nodding, and Jim's going no. So
yeah, you can put him wherever you want, Raider. This is your list.
I'm just talking about the Canelo fight is what I was talking about.
Put him at number 1, baby. I don't care.
Well, he ain't going to number 1 in my book. He'd be number 1 in my most deplorable human being boxer list. You'd be up there, but yeah.
Well, this ain't a contest for his character. This is all about.
Oh, that is definitely true. So yeah. All right, number 3. This is where it kind of gets a little crazy with the top 3. You never know who's going to be in the top 3, and here is where our top 3 landed. Number 3 with 25 points is Caleb Plant. I had him at 3. James had him at 3. Richie had him at 2. Big fight, obviously, this Saturday. He could go up to all the way, probably to number 1 if he wins this week. Maybe not. Interesting to hear what Filthy Rich has to say of having him at 2. So, Filthy Rich, go ahead.
Yeah, I started off by saying 2 and 3 are probably interchangeable. I had a difficult time putting Benavidez at 3. I probably shouldn't drop that name, but
I don't know who that is. That guy's not on my list.
What's done is done. So, look, I put the 2 of them in a ring together, and I'm taking Plant because Plant's not the kind of dude that overlooks his opponent. I think Benavidez is a bit, I don't even want to call him careless, but I think he would look past someone like Plant and thinks he can just steamroll over Plant. And maybe he does, but I'd like to see the 2 of them go at it, and then the winner can take on Canelo. But at this point, I like Plant's body of work a little bit better. And if you put him in the ring, I probably give the edge to Plant. That's why I had him at number 2.
James, you want to tell him why he's wrong?
Well, I'm not going to start it like that. But look, I had Plant at 3 for these reasons. All right. If we're talking about what, spoiler alert, we've already cat's out of the bag, folks.
Thank you.
So, right. So, all right. So it doesn't really matter, right? I have, if you're talking about Plant against Benavidez, right? These 2 guys are almost identical in size, reach, and in my opinion, their style of boxing. Okay. The difference that I have for these 2 is that one lacks something. Caleb Plant lacks the power to finish. He is going to be someone who just doesn't, he kind of, well, like you said in the preview, that he's going to be on that bike and he's going to be running away, right? Well, I don't see that. And that we'll see. We will see what happens at the time of this recording. You might see that was the best move to fight Canelo, but I have no idea, right? Nobody knows how to beat Canelo except for Mayweather. Mayweather technically was on his bike, but it's Mayweather. So whatever, man, I'm getting off topic. Either way, Caleb Plant is 3 on my list because I believe that number 2 on my list beats him. And he just lacks that power. I think he's got good ring IQ. I think he's got good speed. I think he has some other talent. I just don't know about the chin. And I just think he just lacks that power. That's the biggest thing. I think he still beats anyone that's below on my list, but that's why I got old Sweet Hands at number 3.
Yeah, I was torn. I was really torn. It's almost a 2 and 2A, 2A and 2B for Benavidez and Plant for me. It was almost just flip a coin. That would be the super fight. at 168 right now. I think Canelo's obviously Canelo is above everything else. I mean, Canelo is not just a certain weight class. He's just a pound for pound monster. So when you're just talking about before Canelo decided to go to 168, this was the super fight. And I don't know who wins. I just said Benavidez a little bit higher, I guess. I agree with James's analysis of it, I guess. So, all right, that's our 5 through 3. You'll probably already know who our 2 or 1 is, but we'll talk about our 6 through 13 here too before we get into our top 2. At number 6 with 14 points was Daniel Jacobs. I had him at 6. James had him at 8, and Richie had him at 5. Number 7 with 9 points was John Ryder. 8 with 8 points was Carlos Gongora. And 9 with 5 points was Anthony Durrell. At 10 with 4 points was Jose Uzcategui. I can never pronounce
Uzcategui.
Why can't I never pronounce that name right?
Never practice.
Oh, we got that one there right there.
Practice
We got our
makes
first dough.
perfect.
I haven't done a dough in a while.
What do you mean?
Because
you never practice?
No, I said I dropped.
You said something.
Yeah, Uzcategui. I knew that one too. I just can never say it right. Number 11 with 4 points was David Lemieux. Number 12 with 3 points was Edgar Berlanga, and then at 13 with 1 point was Christian Mbali, whatever. So we'll each talk about one here. The ones that were ranked that Filthy Rich ranked Uzcategui, and me and James did not have him ranked. So you may want to talk about him. The 2 fighters that me and James had ranked that Richie did not have ranked were Carlos Gongora and John Ryder. So I'll let you guys pick one of those out of the 6 through 13 that you want to talk about. Filthy Rich, we'll start with you then this time around.
Well, if I'm gonna, I don't know. If I'm gonna talk about Uzcategui, I mean, dude's a really good fighter. His loss to Plant, I think he overlooked Plant. I think he slept on Plant's power. But Uzcategui had that big fight with Andre Durrell, where the big melee happened at the end. But I do want to touch on Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga, it seems like he's probably a year or 2 away from a big fight and really making a name for himself. He was at my number 10 because I think every veteran I have above him would give him problems. So he's got about a year of polishing left to do before he gets ranked higher next time.
Yeah, Berlanga was a big name for a while as an up-and-comer here. So you had him at 10. You had Uzcategui at 7. James, who do you want to talk about of all the ones that you have here? One, by the way, that me and Rich also had Anthony Durrell ranked, and you did not have him ranked. So just talking about that as well.
I'm not talking about that guy.
Fine.
Edgar Berlanga is still an up-and-comer, all right? And I do agree with that assessment. I think that he is somebody that in his last 2 fights, 2 unanimous decisions after getting 16 first down rockouts.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely needs to work on it because he also got knocked down to the canvas for the first time in his career in his last fight too. So he got some explaining to do. He needs to go back to the drawing board and learn a little bit here. But the guy I want to talk about that's on my list that I have pretty high up there is Carlos Gongora. All right. This dude is the first Ecuadorian champion. I had started watching him maybe 4 fights ago on undercards randomly. And he has literally gotten better and better and better and better every single time I've seen him fight. He is not flashy by any means, but he executes. He has good defense. He's a southpaw, so that makes him even trickier to most fighters. And he seems to have some stuff, man. And he's just, to me, at least for me, came out of nowhere. So I'm giving this guy mad props because in his last fight, he knocked out the dude he fought, which I did not see coming at all. But I think this is a guy that's got a lot of talent. He's 20-0, 15 knockouts, and he's not flashy. He's not powerful. He's just efficient. So this is why I want to talk about him. If you have the chance to watch him because this sort of stuff, little sneakers just don't really come apart too often in the world of boxing. And even though he's 32, he's one of those guys like that's got enough left. I think that you're going to start seeing him more and more and more, especially if he keeps up what he's been doing and keeps improving in every fight that I've seen, in my opinion. So Carlos Gongora, go check him out if you get the opportunity.
Well, I had him ranked at 9. Filthy Rich, you didn't have him ranked. You have a retort to that.
I got nothing. I would say
Right.
no, nothing.
I got nothing.
Christian Mbali is the guy I think is the one to look out for.
Have you heard of?
I had him ranked. You guys didn't have him ranked. Bali, I had him ranked at 10.
I don't know who he's beaten, so no, and he's from Ecuador. I don't know what kind of airplay he gets. I don't know if his fights are all in Ecuador. I mean, there's no way for me to watch it.
No,
well, I'm just saying
they're not
I'm
all
just
in
saying.
Ecuador. Don't. What is it? Are you bringing down like Chocolatito's the only Nicaraguan guy? You telling me that? Come on, man. Come
Yeah,
on,
but
man.
at least
Stephen A.
he's
Smith.
a
I don't
pound
even
for
like
pound
Stephen A. Smith.
great. Don't you dare compare Chocolatito to this guy you're talking about. The name slips me already.
Oh,
Gongora.
we're fighting. We're fighting on Saturday. The undercard fight is going to be Filthy Rich versus Judge Jimmy Chains in an 8-round match. We're probably only going to do 2-minute rounds because we are drinking way too much beer. So watch out for that undercard.
Yeah.
Who's the main event on that one? If you guys
I'm the
are
apple
undercard,
card. I'm the apple card.
The apple cart.
I'm the A side. I'm the apple side. I'm the A side.
You're
Don't
the
you
A
worry
side?
about it. Don't you
How are you the
worry
A
about
side
it.
of the undercard? That doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. Think about it.
I'm trying to.
Don't worry about it. Raider, who are you?
Was Boots
gonna
Ennis
talk
on the
about?
A side or not? Think about it. Yes,
Boots Ennis
he
is always
was.
on the A side, but you know who's
All
always on
right,
the A
then,
side no
drop
matter
the
what?
mic. I'll
You know who's on
drink
the A
to
side no matter
me.
what? Amir Khan. Always the A side. Come on, Rich, dance with me.
Always.
Dance with me, Amir Khan.
side.
He's always the A side. What do you mean you're
Name-
shaking your head now?
His
You out
name-
think Amir Khan?
His
Amir
name
Khan's our
starts with
guy.
A.
Yeah, he starts with A because he's the A side every time.
Well, who
All
are
right,
you
let's get to
talking
it.
about on this list?
Who am I talking about?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised that Rich didn't have John Ryder ranked when I had him at 7 and you had him at 6.
I'm not going to rank my car insurance salesman.
What was he wearing? Khakis? He sounds hideous.
Wow.
That was one. I was the only one who had Christian Mbali on there at 10. I only watched one of his fights, but I had him at 10 just because he is impressive. He does not have a loss. He's undefeated. He's got a bunch of knockouts. I didn't have his record written down here, but I know he's got like an 85% knockout percentage or something like that. So I agree with Rich that he is a very big up and comer, but he's young. That's why I have him at 10. So it's been nice to talk about him a little bit, but that's all I got. I mean, I was happy that I didn't have anybody ranked except for Mbali that no one else had ranked. So it wasn't me ruining the list this time. So I was happy about that.
There's a first for everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
you never
ruined
know.
the list again. You ruined the list.
All right, let's get to our top 2. I mean, it's not really big spoilers, but at number 2, with 26 points, 1 point ahead of Caleb Plant was David Benavidez, obviously. I am at 2. James had him at 2. Richie had him at 3. No surprises there. So let's start with Rich this time. Why'd you have him at 3 instead of 2? I mean, you kind of touched on it already, but I'll give you another chance to talk about David Benavidez a little bit.
I guess when I look at this list and I have to look at like common opponent kind of thing, Plant beat Uskadagi, and that was most recent. I think Benavidez and Plant both beat like a 40-year-old Porky Medina, but it doesn't really do much for me. I think Benavidez may have beaten Durrell, but I had Durrell lower than Uskadagi, so I put Plant ahead of Benavidez. But it's no knock on you guys. Like, you guys kind of do know what you're talking about, kinda. Like, I'm not knocking you guys for that, but like I wouldn't get mad at anyone for putting Benavidez at number 2. But if you dare get mad at me for putting him at number 3, we're gonna have round 2.
You just keep up with the pre presser here, bud.
Well, James, why don't you talk a little bit about David Benavidez since all Rich is doing is throwing out challenges and shots.
Hey, that's fair. No, man, I like
It's that eggnog, man. It gets to his head. He gets him, gets all fucking
off
violent.
me.
Oh, I did it again.
Yes, you did.
All right, didn't hear that one, but that's all right. We're gonna keep moving on here. So, David Benavidez, I have him at number 2. Pretty much for I touch base on this with Plant. They're almost the exact same size. I think that they have a lot of the same skill. I think that they are very similar in a lot of ways. However, I believe that Benavidez has way more power at this weight class than Caleb Plant does. And I think that is what's going to carry over in any of these fights, to be honest. So I've seen Benavidez throw massive combos and he doesn't shy away. He's not a one punch or a one type of style guy. He definitely doesn't have the resume if we want to go for that, but I think we'll find out when he fights Kyron Davis soon. I think that'll be in November 13th. But I have Benavidez here because I think he would be the one that actually gives Alvarez the most trouble in this division. And I think he would beat Plant straight up because of his power and because of the fact that they are the same size, that there would be no advantages as far as that goes in a match.
Right on. All right, and our number 1 here, which it's not very shocking. But
wait, who is it?
Well, I had him at
Drum
1.
roll.
James, you had him at 1. Rich, you had him at 1. It's obviously Canelo Alvarez, the proprietor of James' favorite beer, of Tecate. And we'll be drinking plenty of that on Saturday. I got you a 12-pack of Tecate here, by the way, for the fight on Saturday. So that should last you another year or so. You know, 1 a month.
Yeah, you're trying to tell me I'm
shockingly
alcoholic?
cheap. It was shockingly cheap at the store there. I think it was buy 1 get 4 free over there. But
What, like cases?
yeah, the 12-pack. You buy 1, you get 4 free. You know, so it's like, yeah. We could always use it to heat our fish house too. With I think it counts as gasoline too. But anyway, Canelo is number 1 at 30 points. This is obviously before the fight on Saturday. If Caleb Plant pulls a big upset, obviously Canelo probably won't be number 1 after an upset here, depending on how the upset goes. But what hasn't been said about Canelo that we have not said before, James? Good luck trying to figure out something that we haven't talked about Canelo about. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was the one that had to defend Canelo in the preview. And like I said there, I just don't think I've been betting against him for the last 3 fights. I always think that somebody has something that can beat him, and I have been wrong every single time. So I don't think I just, if anyone has the stuff to beat Canelo, I don't believe Plant is it. I could eat my words come a couple days from now, but I just don't see it happening. He is dominant. He puts in the work. He's there every day. He's that good. He is just that good. This is why I got him at number 1. This is why I got him number 1 on my pound for pound list. And unless something devastating happens, he's going to stay number 1 on probably whatever division he is in. Unless he decides to move up to like heavyweight or something, which might be a little different. Then you might have a little little Mac, like Mike Tyson thing, like brown, because that's the only way he's going to hit like Tyson or Joshua, because he's way too short. But yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah, he's not beating Tyson Fury, but I'd be curious to see if you had him at number 1 at 175, if he moves up to there or not. That might be the stopgap. But Filthy Rich, more stuff to add on Canelo Alvarez.
Well, he's in his 60th fight. The Plant fight will be number 60. Canelo's pretty good. He's tested positive multiple. Yeah, he's tested positive for things multiple times. You know, just kind of cool. You know, like you wonder why he doesn't lose. You wonder why, probably lost to Lara, but it's Canelo. You don't want to take a loss from Canelo. Can't do that. Probably lost to Austin Trout years ago, but it's Canelo. Can't let that happen. So Bit overrated. Canelo's an
Triple G.
overrated fighter. There's your big headline. Canelo's a bit overrated.
Yeah. Filthy Rich says Canelo is overrated.
Got him
That's
at
awesome.
number 1.
He's got him at number 1. Now let me ask you guys this: if Canelo loses by decision on Saturday, where does he go in your rankings on this sheet? Does he drop all the way down to 4, 3, 2? Where does he go?
I'll talk first. I mean, honestly, I think it all depends on how he loses. If it is,
I said by decision.
It
that's
doesn't
great.
matter.
And that decision could be either one-sided or it could be, man, Plant really looked like crap and Plant ended up winning, or Canelo looked like crap and he's ended up like it doesn't. If Canelo gets dominated and it's a domination, then yeah, I might move him down. But if he takes like a split decision loss and it's controversial and I don't believe it, then this is my list. It's my opinion. He ain't gonna move. I mean, I had a tough time moving Lomachenko down when he lost to Lopez, and I did it anyway. And then I put him right back up there, right ahead of him, once he came back and fought Nakatani. So it's all an opinion. It would depend on how the fight actually plays out for me to move him down in my rankings, even with a loss, because I still hold him as one of the best pound for pound, the best pound for pound fighter in the world as of right now.
Even with his 4 losses. Filthy Rich, where would you move him down if he lost by decision?
Well, I don't think that matters if he wins or loses. I want to see him fight. You can lose by decision, but if you won all 12 rounds, in my eyes, I don't care if you lost by decision. It doesn't move you down. You could lose every single round and win by majority decision because like the clowns are like judging the fight. So it's not going to matter. I want to see what he does against Plant, and that will determine where I move him. If Plant wins a bunch of rounds the way like Saunders was winning almost half the fight, I don't care if Canelo wins. He may move down if I think Plant clearly won more rounds, just like you think Golovkin won 2 fights. I mean, I don't think you'd have Canelo ranked above Golovkin unless, later on when Golovkin struggled against Derevyanchenko and blah, blah, blah. It's a long story, but it doesn't matter what the decision is. I just need to see the fight, and that'll determine if he moves up or down.
All right, well, one last question on that then, and then we'll be done with this. If he gets knocked out, there's no doubt he gets knocked out, how far does he fall?
Yeah, I got to see it. I don't know.
If he catches him and he knocks Canelo out, the first person to knock him out, what do you guys? How far you drop? Does he drop below Billy Joe Saunders? Does he go down to 3?
No, because Canelo still beats everybody else on this list. He goes to number 2, I guess.
Yeah, you put him below. You put him above David Benavidez at that point.
Yeah, because I think Canelo beats Benavidez. Oh, maybe not. But let's see how Benavidez performs. I don't want to think too far ahead. You're looking past the opponent. I'm not trying to pull.
I'm not. I'm playing. I'm just saying. Advocate here.
I'm just saying. Like, I'm focused on the fight in front of me right now. I'm not trying to worry too much about what happens later. Just worry about that another week. Right now, let's just show's over.
Yeah.
All right. How about James? How about you? How far does he drop? He gets knocked out.
Be paying attention to the fight ahead of you, because this is what's coming for you,
Jesus
buddy.
Christ, Lord help me.
Hey man, you said it. Oh, anyway, no, I mean, if he gets knocked out, I mean, it's the first time I'm going to see him knocked down. Yeah, he'd drop no further than 3 for me, but that would be the max, and it would all depend on if he got dropped in the first versus dropped in the 12th. That's definitely different. So that's what I got.
Right. I don't know who he was calling out with the guns there, but I hope
undercard, man. Me and Rich are fighting on Saturday.
I'm just saying, Filthy Rich. You don't want to fight Filthy Rich when he's got that eggnog in his system, man. When he's got that eggnog in his system, that's like the tainted meat of Mexico. You don't want to fight him when he's got that eggnog in.
There ain't no VADA test.
You have to fight him in the spring when he doesn't have any eggnog in the system. When he starts in October with the eggnog with Christmas, you're done. You can't fight. You can't. No one will beat Canelo on Mexican Independence Day or the Cinco de Mayo, just like no one will beat Rich at Christmas time. It's just not going to happen.
On the nog. It's just positive for eggnog.
It's the nog versus the sauce. All right. Well, that will be the greatest undercard ever, the nog versus the sauce. But Tune in this weekend, Alvarez versus Plant. That is our list. Alvarez, Benavidez, Plant, Saunders, Rosado, Jacobs, Ryder, Gongora, Durrell, Uzcategui, Lemieux, Berlanga, Mbali. That is our list. Put in the comments what you agree with, what you don't. Tell Filthy Rich that eggnog is gross. Put it down there. That is our list. So let's move on with the show. All right, that's our show this week. It's good to be back in the host chair. I'm sorry I missed Halloween dressed as the sauce, but it is what it is. It happens. Filthy Rich, why don't you bring us on home, buddy?
I want to say, friendships are like made over like some of the weirdest things. And I want to give a shout out to one of my new friends, somebody I shared a brownie ice cream with, my guy Buddha. Buddha, if you're watching, you're my dog. That's kind of all I got. What's up, Sweat? See you tomorrow, Bob. Good night, folks. Drink to that.
That was a good time over there. Seeing, I had a lot of belly laughs. That was at the judge's birthday party, his surprise birthday party, which we failed miserably on the surprise part, but we did what we did. It was a good time. Jimmy James, if you have any comments on the Filthy Minute, go ahead. Otherwise, tell them where they can see us if they're listening to us, and if they're listening to us, where they can see us.
Show me not tonight. If you are listening to us and you want to watch us, you can definitely just go to YouTube/Bruce Unboxing. If you are watching us and want to listen to us, go to any major podcast site and type in Bruce Unboxing. That is BREWSN boxing.
And boxing, not N, A-N-D boxing. But yeah, show me not tonight. Oh. All right. Well, it's good to be back, boys. That's our show this week. Good first of the month show. Can't wait to talk about this week's big fight on Saturday. Maybe we'll do a pre-show. We don't know. Maybe we'll do something live. Tune in just to find out. Maybe we're not. We don't know. Depends on what kind of drunken condition we are in by the time that fight rolls around. For Judge Jimmy James and Filthy Rich, I am Raider Live. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you guys next week.